meditation, spirituality together this morning, even though we live in different parts of the USA and the world. So now that you have practiced deep breath a few times, you may now switch back to your normal involuntary breath if you so like. However, those who are willing to continue with the deep breath may do so. As usual, remind yourself the two kinds of distractions that you may encounter during the sitting. The inner or internal distractions such as memories, tendencies of the mind, feelings, sensations, distracting you, destroying your focus. And outer or external distractions, that is any sound, any noise, increasing and decreasing, such as doors opening, people talking, telephones ringing, etc. As those distractions occur, do not get angry. Do not get afflicted with them. Do not get agitated by them. Instead, trust yourself, trust your self-reliance, trust your self-confidence, and then tell yourself in your head, no matter how noisy my surroundings are, no matter how distracted I am within, I should be able to continue to maintain my inner balance. We live in a society that is hectic and noisy anyway, and so that we cannot expect a time, a moment that is perfectly silent. We need to adjust ourselves to the surroundings that we live, that are part of our life. That being said, let's also remind ourselves the resolution of self-reliance. That is to say, the self-reliance in light of the bird sitting on the dead branch of a tree. And you are familiar with that bird sitting on a dead branch of the tree analogy. There's a bird sitting on a dead branch of a tall tree with its eyes closed, and then all of a sudden the wind starts blowing, and so that due to the heavy wind now blowing, the dead branch that the bird is now sitting on with its eyes closed breaks off. Instantaneously, bird notices that. At no time does the bird fly away, and it doesn't fall down with the fallen branch. Why didn't the bird fall down with the fallen branch? Because even though the bird was sitting on the dead branch, and it wasn't relying on the branch, that it was relying on its wings. And then so a bird uses its instincts, and then the bird felt the fear, the danger right away, and then instantaneously the bird noticed that the branch now breaking off, and so that it was safe. It flew away from the fallen branch. Likewise, Even though there are people and situations that we can very conveniently rely on, we are not supposed to do that at all times. Even if there are people you can rely on, situations that you can rely on, we need to keep ourselves aware that we should depend on our self-reliance. So, because in case, even if the worst things happen in our life, we should be able to protect ourselves. We should be able to survive because we already learned that we should not rely on the people and situations 100%. We need the people. We need people to come to our rescue. We can't deal with things all by ourselves. We need the help, support from Kalyana Mittas, trustworthy spiritual friends. We need to make sure that we are financially stable, emotionally stable. Despite all that, so even if you are financially stable, even if you have lots of friends and or Kalyana Mittas, even if you are stable in all aspects of life, you are not supposed to rely on all that 100%. Always have yourself prepared to face any worse situation, any bad situation, so that when bad things happens, when a bad thing happens, you can feel the danger, you can feel the risk, you can identify the risk, and so that you can start, you can take swift action to safeguard yourself, to protect yourself. Now, that's all about the resolution of self-reliance. With that resolution of self-reliance being maintained in the back of our mind, let's start our meditation. In case you may encounter domanasas or mental pain or dukkhas or bodily pains, instead of getting agitated by them, instead of getting afflicted with them, instead of getting frustrated by them, be happy that you are being given an ample opportunity to understand the impermanent nature of our selfhood. And you are not the only one, I am not the only one, we are not the only ones going through problems. Probably compared to millions of people in the world, we are in a much better position. When such domanasas and dukkhas occur, be happy that you are being given an ample opportunity to practice vipassana. You come from different, you come with experience in different levels of meditation. Regardless the level of experience you have, it's always advisable, it's prudent to start with samatha or calm meditation. As the bell goes on one more time, we will start with the samatha or calm, and then slowly move up to your own level of experience, meditational experience. As the bell goes on the third time, let's start our meditation in silence. And slowly open your eyes, please, and stretch out. As you may know, the topic for today's brief Dhamma talk is solitude versus loneliness. Today's presentation is based on a sutra from the Samyutta Nikaya. Samyutta Nikaya contains various brief sutras. Most of the time, a Samyutta Nikaya sutra is a Buddha's response to a quick question from someone, like a devata, deity, a king, or a Mara, or anyone. Now, according to the Sanamana Sutra of the Samyutta Nikaya, there was a forest deity, devata, who feared the forest sounds and finds himself in loneliness. And then he decides to visit the Buddha and share his feelings of fear. So Sanamana literally means murmuring. So it's murmur of forest noises. So Sanamana Sutra means the sutra on the forest noises. Now this this forest deity, Devata, finds himself experiencing the forest sounds in the deep forest in the noon heat. It was a hot summer day, and he was now experiencing the noon heat. So as the birds were singing, birds were crying, and then wildlife was crying and making sounds, and then he felt fearful, and then he felt lonely, and his loneliness pushed him to visit the Buddha and share his feelings of fear. Now, and he visits the Buddha and then shares his feelings of fear. And he says to Buddha, Sir, so I am from a deep forest, and as I live in the forest. So, and as the forest makes noises, and then so in the hot sun, at noon, I feel lonely. So why is that? And then so to the devata or to the deity, such a forest is a place of loneliness. And then, having listened to the devata's story, Buddha shares a totally different feeling. And Buddha said that he has a totally different feeling about such a forest. And so that is to say that even though the deity feels lonely in such a forest in the noon heat, Buddha himself and enlightened people, or even average unenlightened putujanas, would not feel lonely, but would enjoy being in such a forest because they are the ones who are always in search of what is called solitude. Now, let's look at the difference between loneliness and solitude. From among different Pali terms, one of the best terms that would correspond to loneliness is upayasa. UPA long A, YA long A, SA upayasa, loneliness. And solitude, which is viveka in Pali. So there's a big difference between loneliness and solitude. When you look at the two terms, loneliness and solitude, at the beginning, most people would not see a difference between the two words. But there's a vast difference between the two terms. Now, as I said, while Buddha and enlightened people and even unenlightened average people who are fed up with living a social life and who would love to walk their spiritual path all by themselves would choose a forest and move to the forest, and so that by comparison they prefer to dwell in the forest, so that because they are away from the hectic social life. So such a person finds a forest a perfect place of solitude, whereas to the deity, the forest deity, Devata, is otherwise. And to him, the forest is a place of loneliness. Now that's the difference. Now, in your day-to-day life also, you may have been one of them, or you may have some friends who could be a monk or a nun, bhikkhu or a bhikkhuni or a layperson, who would say that they prefer to, who would say that he or she prefers to live in a forest because he or she gets distracted when living in and with the community. So such a person always enjoys his or her forest dwelling. But to the Devata is totally otherwise, it's totally different. Now, the loneliness, which is upayasa. Let's look at the term upayasa. Now, upa, prefix upa, means within, near, close, part of oneself. Ayasa is effort, is striving. And then as though, as if having a short of breath, as if you have difficulty in breathing. You know, when you are emotionally high, when you go through emotional turbulence, even though you don't have any problem with your lungs, you at times experience short of breath, you experience difficulty breathing. Is totally due to an emotional upheaval. Now, ayasa at this point is striving, trying your best to breathe. You know, breathing also has a psychological meaning, not the literal action of breathing, not the biological action of breathing. That when you say you are unable to breathe means you are experiencing some trouble, some issues, some problems, difficulties. So that's what breathing means. Difficult to breathe means. Now, upayasa means loneliness or tribulation. You find it difficult to breathe. You are in such a position, in a position that you find it difficult to cope with situations, even if there are people, there is an abundance of people and positive situations, thanks to which you can pull yourself out of the negativities that you are going through. But you continue to suffer that way. Now, even among 1 million people, you still don't feel connected with everyone else. And staying in 1 million people, you still feel disconnected. You feel lonely and you feel left out. and that is called upayasa or loneliness. The Pali term upayasa also means suffer in silence, which is not good. Loneliness. Whereas when it comes to solitude, and then loneliness, while loneliness may not be uh, a chosen, it may not be a choice. Solitude must be a choice. Now, people land in loneliness even though they never want, quite unexpectedly. Whereas when it comes to choosing solitude, you make a conscious decision to live all by yourself. Now that's the difference. When you are ready, when you are not ready, when you don't, and then you are not willing to live a life of solitude, to you it is not solitude then, it's loneliness. When you make a conscious effort, conscious decision to walk away from the society, that doesn't mean that you go to a forest actually. Now, even if you go to a forest, and you may still end up in loneliness instead of solitude. So I know some of my friends, forest dwelling monks, and then some of them return to the society having spent a short period of time in the forest. They said that they would not be able to cope with the loneliness that they were encountering in the forest. So they came back. And then I would like to remind you Devadatta's request, from among a few requests that he made, and he asked the Buddha. He made a certain request that that Buddha declares that all monastics, monks, bhikkhus, nuns, bhikkhunis, whosoever the monastics are, live a life of forest dwelling for life. And Buddha rejected that Devadatta's request. So that instead Buddha said to Devadatta that I cannot force monks to dwell in the forest, to live in the forest for their spiritual purposes. And then so that they have a choice. They may live with the community or they may live in a forest. What matters is that you experience solitude. So there's no point moving to a forest and dwelling there, but never being able to enjoy solitude or viveka, but yet ending up in loneliness. So that's the difference. Especially as the whole world is going through the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic, due to various reasons such as the loss of job, employment, loss of loved ones, due to loss of livelihood, etc. And people feel lonely. And even someone with being a member of a family with like 15 members would still feel lonely. Yeah, those two, and the whole world, individuals across the world are feeling lonely, despite the fact that they live among friends, with their family. Now, the coronavirus pandemic the coronavirus pandemic has landed almost every human being in what is called upayasa or loneliness. So you need to make a conscious decision to choose some kalyana mittas or trustworthy spiritual friends, and so that they would listen to you and you can share your feelings with them, and then so that you should be able to overcome, to cope with your upayasa or loneliness. So unless you make a conscious effort, as I've said several times to now, you wouldn't be able to have a moment of viveka or solitude in your life. Thank you. Any questions or contributions?
So Bhante, this is Lasanta. So can loneliness lead to fear?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's what happened to the Devata. Yeah, because he ended up in fear. So, and that's why he sought refuge in the Buddha and came to the Buddha and said, because he was now fearful.
Right. So then when we look at the cause of fear, was it, and not only this particular case of this Devata, but normally when we feel loneliness, we have fears of maybe abandonment or some other aspect. So how do you sort of quantify loneliness? Maybe I'm not.
In order to quantify, you need to talk to a Kalyana Mitta, and also you need a little lifestyle change. Like you need to enjoy, as we say, the sunshine. You need to come out of the dark room and enjoy the sunshine. You need definitely you need to share your feelings with a Kalyana Mitta or a trustworthy spiritual friend, and then you need to spend some time with the nature. Probably you need a new habit like reading, listening, meditating, and lots of people from the US have asked me what to do due to loneliness caused by the coronavirus pandemic. This morning also someone called me from California. Then I asked him to go to an isolated place, not a crowded park or not a crowded park, because otherwise he might put himself at risk contracting the coronavirus. And then he said that within 2 hours, in 2 hours later, he called me and said that he was now enjoying the sunshine in a hilly on top of a hill. And then he said that enjoying the sunshine, he meditated like 15 to 20 minutes, and then he stood up and stretched out, and his mind pushed him back into meditation. Now he said he's going to make it daily habit, and he never wanted to talk to anyone because he never wanted to. He said he doesn't have any kalyana mitta. When he called me, I didn't mention the coronavirus, because he tried many times to start up a dialogue with his friends, his family members, and they would only talk about the coronavirus and nothing else, so that he got further traumatized by the continuous dialogues on the coronavirus, and he never wanted to mention that term. He never wanted to hear that term again. So during the 20 minutes discussion he had with me, I didn't mention the coronavirus a single time. And to the end of the dialogue, say that, I think you are my Kalyana Mitta, because you don't even mention the term coronavirus. I am sick of that term. I really wanted to distract, and I want to use that term. So that he said that from today onwards, he's going to make his daily habit. He had never done that in his life. He would go to a pub, a club, and now he doesn't do that because the clubs and pubs are closed, and he doesn't like to go to a park and beaches. That's why he would he used to frequent, because those places are also crowded, and he might contract a virus. So that he doesn't want to stay with his family members either during the day, and so that he just wanted to be by himself, but yet not to be lonely, but to be in solitude. That's the fascinating thing. And he told me that when he was with people, he felt lonely. Now that he is alone, and he is in solitude. So, did I answer that question?
Yes, Bhante, thank you.
By the way, I have to make an announcement. This Sunday, the November 29th, is the full moon. And then, so some of our Kalyana Mitras friends are willing to observe the 8 precepts to mark the full moon tomorrow at tomorrow around 8 p.m. Tomorrow, Saturday, 8 p.m. in New York time. So that I would like to set up a Zoom meeting for that purpose, so that you can join the Zoom meeting, those who are willing to observe the 8 precepts. It's going to be like a 30 minutes program. You would observe the 8 precepts and then meditate, and then we would disperse. So that's going to be Saturday, tomorrow, November 28th, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Please I would like to ask you now, so that if you say yes, I can set up a meeting for that time. If you are not willing, if you say no, then I wouldn't set up a meeting. Okay, yeah, Santi Tambugali said, yeah, yes. Okay, one person in. Any other one? Anyone else? Okay, you can, if you have a change of mind, I will set up. Okay, Sri Mali said yes. Already 2 people. Okay, now there are 2 people. That's enough. You can, if you want to join. Anyway, I will share the link, and so that join. Okay, Lasantas, yeah, we have a temple program tomorrow. Yes, so no problem. So yes, it's going to be 30 minutes program only, no Dhamma talk, and we would observe. You would observe the 8 precepts and then meditate, and then we disperse. So that I will set up the meeting for tomorrow, Saturday, November 28th evening, New York time, Eastern time, and then see you tomorrow. And those who join the Sunday Sinhala medium Dhamma talk, we're going to have the same Dhamma talk. And then due to a technical problem that we encountered, we could not record last Friday's Zoom meeting and last Sunday's Zoom meeting. And so that we're going to make up. We're going to have a revision of last Sunday's topic, so that it's going to be a revision, and it's going to be a repeat. We will repeat the same topic. That's about Sunday's Sinhala medium talk. That being said, thank you for joining this Friday evening's gathering, and I wish you and to those who are from Sri Lanka, wish you a beautiful day. It's the morning there. To everyone else who are from the US East Coast, wish you a peaceful night. Thank you, and see you next Friday.
Thank you, Bhante. Buddha Saranai.
Saranai. Saranai. Saranai.
Thank you.